Over 1,300 plus days of what seemed like a never-ending battle against one of the most corrupt agencies out there is finally coming to an end. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. I think that the best way to officially start this video is by saying to all of those XRP holders that have been around since going back to 2020, let's go. We have finally won against the SEC. The case is officially done. Not my words, but the CLO of Ripples. And we have to talk about this. We're going to be talking about it. The overall market, Bitcoin over $60,000. Love to see that. Can't get too far ahead of ourselves. I'm going to be making another video talking about this. We need to prepare for this week. FOMC meeting. There's a lot of things that are coming up that could very well, change the overall outlook of the market. But right now, XRP up about roughly almost 8% in the last 60 days. Up almost 20% on the last 90 days. Love to see that. This is what the 7-day looks like for XRP. It's up about roughly 10.76%. On the 1 day, up about 3.25%. Nothing too crazy there. And again, on the 1 month, pretty flat. But overall, the big thing is what's going to happen now? Because if you guys did miss it, yes, the case is done from the CLO, which we will talk about. This has been something that I've been documenting for so long. Listen, we've been talking about this case since the inception. I've talked about it even on X. I've talked about it on YouTube. The main thing that we were addressing at that time was just how much FUD and negativity was, around the XRP community. It was an opportunity in disguise, which I've always said. But back in March and even April, I did put out 2 posts. This was the first one from March, which was a quote. It was a quoted post because Mr. Huber put out a great post regarding the $2 billion that the SEC wanted from Ripple. Okay. And at that time, this was confirmation of who the SEC is really kind of batting for. Because remember, all of those cases against JP Morgan and all of the big banks as well. I mean, it's not just JP Morgan. Bank of America, Citi, there's so many of them. But JP Morgan always gets off with a slap on the wrist. $100 million penalties for billions and billions and billions of dollars of confirmed fraud, manipulating markets, commodities markets, treasury markets. I mean, it's insane to me. But that's why I said, not to mention that the SEC caused $15 billion in damages to retail investors upon the announcement of the XRP lawsuit. We're not even talking about the after effects. We're not even talking about, how much innovation was stifled. Not even to mention all of the damages done by the SEC through their actions towards other companies in this space. We will never forget Library that, had to file bankruptcy. Also, FTX, they let FTX go right on by. I mean, I would argue that the damages are well over $100 billion at this point from the SEC. But I also said that the SEC has caused enough damage 2 years ago. They were demanding $1.4 billion and now it's $2 billion. How ridiculous. They don't deserve a dime. Now, even over here, I did say the SEC has wasted over 3 years worth of time trying to argue a never-ending battle with Ripple. The worst part is that billions of taxpayer money were also wasted during this battle. I didn't even mention the $15 billion in damages to XRP investors. And that was just from the announcement. Ripple dished out $200 million plus in legal fees, but just think about the missed opportunities. Imagine what that $200 million could have funded if it was utilized properly. The saddest part about all of this is the argument that this entire battle was to protect investors. All I have noticed from this almost 4-year-long battle is a corrupt government agency trying to back a nascent industry into a corner. There's a clear motive to pick winners and losers, but also someone is also being paid. It's sad that we are still in the middle of this over 3 years later. And yes, over 1,300 plus days, 1,364 days to be exact. That's how long it took this case to officially conclude. And just to go over a few things, let's start with this, because this is the overall view of the SEC and how they are approaching crypto. Remember Gary Gensler's famous words, the laws are clear. There is already clarity. They're very transparent, the rules and the laws around, securities and crypto. Well, we have over here from Meta Lawman. The SEC seems to have a hard time keeping its story straight on crypto. Let's take a closer look at statements by the SEC lawyers at the recent Coinbase and Binance hearings. Here's January 17th. You're saying that as to these 12 or 13 tokens, when they were initially issued, these tokens were themselves securities. Yes, Your Honor. Let me just clarify, the token itself is not the security. Hello? January 22nd. We're talking about 5 days later. Do you agree that there is a difference between the coins, the subject of the investment contracts, and the contracts themselves? Yes, Your Honor. The crypto asset, as we briefed, is simply a line of code. The token itself represents the investment contract. And this is from the court. Well, I'm not sure I have heard from the SEC before that the token represents the investment contract. The asset itself embodies the investment contract, and we maintain a consistent position with respect to that. I would disagree with the premise that the SEC has contradicted itself. So to summarize, according to the SEC, the crypto token itself is a security and it is not a security, and those two statements are not contradictory. And listen, this is exactly what's going on here. Look at the Coinbase hearing. This is literally what the SEC is saying, and here we have the Binance hearing as well. I mean, this is just ridiculous, and this is exactly why nothing can get done around crypto. This is exactly why, as we look at the crypto market today, there is literally zero laws, zero rules, and zero clarity in the US around crypto. Now, also over here, we have, does the footnote the SEC dropped into its Binance brief clear up all the crypto asset security confusion? Maybe it's just me, but dropping hints and footnotes seems like a weird way to regulate an enormous industry with millions of investors and billions in daily trading. Now, this leads me to this post over here. This is the DAO report. Over here, we also have another screenshot from the footnote. This is from Stuart Alderoty, Chief Legal Officer at Ripple. Ripple's case is over, but the fair notice defense is still alive for others. The SEC cites the 2017 DAO report as industry notice that crypto asset securities are subject to U.S. securities laws. 7 years later, the SEC apologizes to a federal judge, surely a person of at least ordinary intelligence, for the confusion it invited by using the inherently unclear term. And if we actually look at this, we have the SEC's DAO report. In July 2017, the SEC issued the report of investigation pursuant to Section 21A of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. The DAO report, in which the SEC explained that certain crypto asset securities are subject to U.S. securities laws. Now, over here we have, as this court noted, and as the SEC reiterates, with its use of the term crypto asset securities, the SEC is not referring to the crypto asset itself as the security. Rather, as the SEC has consistently maintained since the very first crypto asset Howey case the SEC litigated, the term is a shorthand. See Telegram, and here we have, while helpful as a shorthand reference, the security in this case is not simply the crypto asset, which is little more than alphanumeric cryptographic sequence. The security in this case consists of the full set of contracts, expectations, and understanding centered on the sales and distribution of the crypto asset. Nevertheless, to avoid any confusion, the PAC no longer uses the shorthand term, and the SEC regrets any confusion it may have invited in this regard. MTD order at 1920, as the court explained that crypto asset is the subject of the investment contract, defendants appeared to argue that even if the 10 crypto assets were offered and sold as securities during the ICOs, they do not remain securities into perpetuity. The SEC is not advancing this argument. The SEC's allegations with respect to the 10 crypto assets at issue in secondary markets are that their promotions and economic realities have not changed in any meaningful way under Howey, such that they continue to be offered and sold as investment contracts. This is just ridiculous. And over here, the chief legal officer at Coinbase quoted this and said the SEC regrets any confusion it may have invited by falsely and repeatedly stating that tokens themselves are securities. This is the remarkable representation in footnote 6 of the SEC Gov's amended complaint against Binance. I hope Stuart Alderoty is getting some good sleep tonight. His head's about to explode when he wakes up and sees this. And I'll say it again, somehow ETH transactions have changed a meaningful way that the 10 crypto assets have not, so as to avoid the agency's clutches. How? That's apparently for the SEC Gov to know and the rest of us to find out only if and when we are sued. Last point of the night, the SEC Gov absolutely maintained that tokens themselves are securities is clear from the long record of the regulation by enforcement campaign. Why mislead the court? And over here we have, sorry, what? I mean, the SEC Gov literally claimed XRP itself is a security in paragraph 1 of their complaint against Ripple. It's shameless. And yeah, look at this. From at least 2013 through the present, defendants sold over 14.6 billion units of the digital asset security called XRP in return for cash or other considerations worth over $1.38 billion to fund Ripple's operations and enrich Larson and Garlinghouse. That's exactly the argument point from 2020. They are literally calling it a security. I'm in shock. I didn't know it was even possible for gaslighting to be this extreme. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is ridiculous. This is the agency that this entire market is at war with. What the hell is going on? And we have over here from Stuart Alderoty again, and he's quoting Paul Grewal. So the SEC finally admits that 1, crypto asset security is a made-up term, and 2, to prove a crypto asset security is an investment contract, the SEC needs evidence of a bundle of contracts, expectations, and understandings. Think it's time for the SEC Gov to admit that it has become a twisted pretzel of contradictions. Don't worry, I updated your logo for you. And yeah, listen, there is in no way a possibility that the SEC can win against a lot of these projects in this space. Of course, when we're talking about Ripple and XRP, I don't believe that the SEC ever had a case against Ripple and even XRP. This is why I say that the case is nonsense. It's done, it's finished. And even Stuart Alderoty is saying that the case is over. And this is exactly why I do believe that, you know, the road forward is being paved. We have the, stablecoin being announced. We have all these amendments being announced. We have Ripple fully focused on institutions, because I do believe that they even see that there's no other outcome but a massive win. This case has been done for a while now. This is insane to me. Insane. Over 1,300 plus days later, just to have the SEC say, hey, we regret any confusion that we have, invited. Like, this is just comical to me. And we could just see a lot of these people saying, the laws are clear. Gary Gensler. I mean, guys, this is massively a ball drop moment for the SEC. Because for well over 4+ years, we have been hearing that the laws are clear, that everything's transparent, you can come in and meet with us. And guess what? This just proves how unorganized, how ridiculous, and how confusing it is to be a company around this space, to even try to build something and even push something, trying to even work with the regulators. Like, there is zero transparency at all. There is zero laws in place. This proves everything that we have been talking about. This is why I say that the SEC is not working for the retail sector. They are not trying to push this industry forward. They don't care. They want to stretch these things out as long as possible. They want to waste time. They want to waste money. And it is all for the benefit of the big incumbents. This entire case, everything that we've been hearing around the SEC, we're not even just talking about, the Ripple and XRP case. We're talking about the Binance case, the Coinbase, case. All of these cases that the SEC has pushed are just ridiculous. But now we have from the SEC confirmation that crypto assets are not securities. after going back and forth for well over 4 years. Listen, money lost, you could always make money back. Time lost, you can never get time back. That's the biggest loss throughout all of this. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. I'd love to hear your thoughts. With that being said, if you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.